Have you been feeling a change in your life and you've been struggling to navigate through it? If so, stay tuned and I will teach you how to adjust to your new norm today. What is going on, everyone? We are back for another episode of Prospering with Christ. I hope that you had a wonderful week last week, and I hope that this week will be just as amazing to you as well. So, for today's episode, we are discussing how to adjust to the new. I wanted to talk about this today because this is something that God has actually been teaching me, and I thought that it would be a good idea for me to share it with you. So lately, I've been getting a lot into self care and I've been wanting to do things to make myself feel good. And one of the things that I've been looking into doing is skincare. I want to take care of my skin. I want to make sure that my face is clear. I want to make sure that my skin feels healthy. And so I've been doing a lot of research on skincare. I've even been looking into like Korean skincare routines. And I just remember I was on Amazon and I was looking up all the products that I would need to do my skincare routines. And the first thing that came to my mind was these products are high. I just kept talking about how these products cost a lot of money. And it got to a point where the price of those products started to make me nervous. It started to make me feel uneasy. And in that moment, God spoke to me and He said, "You should be getting used to paying these types of prices." God was telling me that I am entering a new season. And with that new season, I have to learn new behaviors. I have to learn a new routine. I have to learn new habits. I have to adjust to the person that I need to be to handle this season. See, what I'm used to, what's normal to me, what I'm used to paying cannot come into the new season that God is taking me in. And God is saying to you today, your blessing requires you to learn new things. The behaviors that you are used to, the routines that you are used to, the mindset that you operate in, the habits that you have, the amount of money that you spend cannot go into this new season of your life because it does not match up with the blessing that God is trying to bring you. See, some of you have been in a space where you have been questioning God. You have been questioning, why isn't this happening for me? Why am I not seeing results? Why haven't I reached my breakthrough yet? And God is saying, because every time I try to ease you into it, every time I try to take you into the season of transition, you run back to what you're used to. You run back to where you came from because you are thinking and you are taking this journey through your own mentality. You are taking this journey through your own understanding. So when I try to give you something new, you run away from it because you're not used to it. When I try to adapt you to a new habit, to a new lifestyle, to a new routine, you run away from it because that's not what you're used to. That's not what you normally operate in. That's not what you were taught to have. Your hesitation is the reason why you have not seen your breakthrough fully come to pass. God is saying, your blessing comes with new. It comes with a new lifestyle. It comes with a new mentality. It comes with a new routine. It comes with new habits. And see, you're only focused on getting the blessing, but you're not focused on becoming the type of person who was used to everything that this blessing comes with. And you have to learn how to adjust. You have to learn how to trust me when I am trying to transition you into the person that you need to be to handle this breakthrough, to handle this blessing, who can manage and steward in this season. You have to stop being hesitant. You have to stop running away. You have to stop going back to what you're used to, how you normally do things, how you normally think. And you have to trust God and trust Him as He transitions you into this new breakthrough. Our hesitation to trust God while He's transitioning us into the new is not for no reason. We're not just being hesitant because we want to be disobedient. We're not just being hesitant because we don't want the blessing. Normally, our hesitation is rooted in fear. There is a deep fear that is causing us to be hesitant, that is causing us to stop, that is causing us to run away. And until we understand what that fear is, and until we actually face that fear head on, we will continue to be hesitant. We will continue to block, and we will continue to stop the breakthrough that God is trying to bring us. And one of the main fears that we have when it comes to adjusting to our new is we don't know if it will last and we don't feel safe here. This fear is a fear that I personally experienced. When it came to me trying skincare, when it came to me purchasing skincare products, my mentality was, yes, I have the money now, but what if 4 months down the line when I need to buy a new product, I don't have it? What if I can't keep up with this routine? What if I can't keep up with this new lifestyle? What if I can't keep up with this new habit? What if I have to go backwards? What if this is only a gift in this season and in the next season I'm going back to where I came from? What if this is not my new norm? What if this is only a one-time thing? And these feelings caused me to feel like I am unsafe here. These feelings caused me to put up a guard where I said, I can't fully let my guard down. I can't fully feel peace here. I can't fully trust God because I don't know how long this season is going to last. I don't know how long this moment is going to last. If you're like me and this is a fear that you have, then God is saying to you, imagine being so afraid that you can't even enjoy the breakthrough and the blessing that I'm giving you now. I am opening out my hands. I am literally presenting you a breakthrough. I am literally presenting you a blessing. And you're so afraid that you won't be able to have this same blessing months down the line, years down the line, decades down the line, that you're rejecting what I'm giving you now. We have to stop worrying about what we don't have yet and appreciate what God is doing for us now. God is saying the reason why it's so hard for you to receive blessings, the reason why it feels like you never see my hand move in your life is because you are always focused on what you don't have yet. You are always focused on what didn't happen yet. And you are not looking and shifting your perspective to what I'm doing now. You're so afraid about what you will lack years down the line or months down the line that you don't even realize that I am presenting you a breakthrough right now. It's right here in front of your face. You have the resources, you have the opportunities, you have the open doors. And instead of walking in and accepting my blessing, you're telling me I'm afraid because I don't know if I'll have it 4 months later. I'm afraid because I don't know if I'll have this same blessing years later. God is saying to you today, live in the moment. Because until you learn how to live in the moment, you're right, you won't experience that breakthrough. Because just like I'm presenting you a blessing right now, 4 months down the line, when you have the opportunity, when you have the resources to have the things that you're praying and asking me for, and I give it to you, you're going to be thinking about 8 months down the line. You're going to be thinking about, what if I don't have it 8 months later? God is saying, until you learn how to stop stressing over your future and live in the moment and look at what I'm doing for you now, you're never going to be blessed. You're never going to get your breakthrough. God is saying, I got you. When that time comes, I got you. When that time comes, I have a blessing in store for you. But forget that because we're not there yet. Let's focus on right now. There is a blessing right in front of your face. Are you going to reach out and grab it? Another reason why we feel afraid to trust God to adjust to the new is because we're afraid of what other people are going to think. We're either afraid of if people will judge us once we get the blessing, if they'll have an attitude of, oh, you think you're better than me? Oh, you think you're all that in a bag of chips? Oh, I don't want to hang out with you anymore because you're different now. We're afraid that people will judge us when we get the blessing, or we're afraid that if our number one fear of this not lasting and we'll have to go backwards, we're afraid of how people will respond to our failure. And if this is your fear, then God is saying to you today, are you living for me or are you living for other people? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your life is. It doesn't matter how bad your life is. It doesn't matter how many blessings God brings you. People are always going to have something to say. It is completely impossible to satisfy every single person on this earth. And if you are so wrapped up in what people have to say about you, if you are so wrapped up in what people are going to think about you, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be blessed. You can't have a blessing being worried about the next person. You can't enjoy your blessing being worried about how the next person feels about what you're doing with your life. You have to stay in your own lane. You have to go against people. People do not understand God. People are not God. One day they will praise you, the next day they will curse you. And if you are so wrapped up in people, you're never going to be satisfied. So God is saying to you today, are you going to allow people's opinions to keep you stuck and keep you stagnant? Or are you going to say, screw people's opinions, because the only person who matters and the only opinion that matters is God's? The next reason why we are afraid to trust God and adjust to the new is because adjusting to the new is overwhelming. Changing your lifestyle, changing your habits, changing your mentality is not easy. It requires you to go against what you were taught. It requires you to go against what feels comfortable to you. It requires you to do things that are scary, to do things that are risky. And that fear keeps some of us hostage, and it makes us hesitant to trust God and follow Him. But following God requires sacrifice. It requires you to take risks. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone. And although it may be scary, you have to hold on to the fact that you are not on this journey alone. God is guiding you. God is right next to you. You're not in the driver's seat. You're not taking this journey by yourself. And if you get too afraid, if you don't understand, all you have to do is turn to God, and God will guide you along the way. When you're doing things God's way, you cannot allow fear to stop you. You cannot allow fear to block you, because fear and God does not coexist. And if you're too afraid to get out of your comfort zone, you're never going to be able to take this journey with God. Are you enjoying this episode so far? Is this episode teaching you how to adjust to the new? If so, then I want you to do me two favors. Favor number one, I want you to leave a review. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this episode. Leave an honest review and let me and others know how you are enjoying the show. And favor number two, if you know anyone who God has been trying to transition and they've been hesitant to trust Him, they've been hesitant to make the adjustments into the new person that they need to become, then I want you to send this episode to them. Let this episode motivate and encourage them the same way that it is motivating and encouraging you. Now let's get back to the show. You may not realize it at first, but adjusting to your new blessing is a part of the season of transition. See, when we think of the season of transition, we think of God taking us from a place of struggling to having our breakthrough, taking us from a place of going without to having. But the season of transition doesn't just stop there. you also have to transition yourself. You have to grow and you have to become a new person. See, the old you cannot handle this new breakthrough. If the old you could handle the new breakthrough, then you would have had that breakthrough a long time ago. You would have grew up in that breakthrough. You would have had that breakthrough since you've been this type of person that you are currently. But God is saying to you today, in order for you to have that, you have to become new. In order for you to have that, you have to do the inner work. See, when we think about our breakthrough, especially when our breakthrough requires material things, it requires money, it requires a new career, it requires a car, it requires buying a new home. We always think about doing the outward work. The outward work of I have to go to school, the outward work of I have to get a loan. We always think of doing the outward work of physical things. But God is saying at some point on your journey, I want you to look inward. At some point on your journey, I want you to start working on you, not applying for colleges, not applying for loans, not test driving cars. I want you to look within and I want you to work on you because there has to be a transition that goes on in yourself. There has to be growth in your character. There has to be growth in your mindset. There has to be growth in your lifestyle. There has to be growth in your routines. It's not just about the outward work. You have to do the inner work as well. And you may be wondering why. Why do you have to grow? Why do you have to become a new person? But I want you to think about the story that I told you at the beginning of the episode. I was looking at skincare, and the prices of those products were making me afraid. I was thinking like, dang, I'm gonna have to spend hundreds of dollars just to make my skin look good. And it was making me nervous. So if God took me into that blessing where skincare is now a norm for me, paying those types of prices is now the norm for me, but he didn't transform my mentality. How can I have a mentality of thinking that those prices are scary, those prices are expensive, those prices are uncomfortable for me, but maintain that type of lifestyle? You can't have the mentality that you currently have and have the lifestyle and the blessing that God is trying to take you to. God is saying that mentality of lack. God is saying that mentality of thinking that that's expensive. God is saying that mentality of thinking that that's too much for you cannot go where I'm trying to take you because I want this to be normal to you. I don't want this to be something that makes you feel uncomfortable. I don't want this to be something that makes you feel fear. I want this to be your new norm. I want this to be something that you're used to. I want this to be something that you do without even thinking about it. People might look at you and say, "You live like that?" And you're like, "Yeah, what's the problem?" You don't even realize that this is that big of a deal because you became used to it. So your mentality cannot go where God is trying to take you. And in order for you to transition your inner self, you're going to have to do the work. And the work is going to pump fear in you. The work is going to be uncomfortable. The work is going to be scary. But you have to push through and you have to do it anyway. You have to make a decision today. Are you going to do the work required to adjust to your new norm? And if you are, then the first thing that you have to do is you have to change up your prayers. Because for a lot of us, when we pray to God, we only pray to God for what we desire. We say, "God, I desire money. Can you bless me with some money? I desire a new car. Can you bless me with a new car? I desire a marriage. Can you make me a wife? I desire to have my first child. Can you make me a parent?" We only pray to God and we only ask Him about the things that we desire. But after you go to God and you ask Him for your desire, the next thing that you need to be asking is, "God, help me become the type of person who can handle this desire. Help me become the type of person who lives in this desire, the type of person who's used to this desire, the type of person who can act and manage in this desire." Help me become that person mentally. Help me become that person physically. Help me become that person emotionally. Help me switch up my routines to the type of routines that this person has. Help me switch up my appearance to the type of appearance that this person has. Help me become the type of person who can handle what I am asking you for. The next thing that you want to do is you want to surround yourself with people who have what you're seeking. And the reason why is because I know we've all heard the saying, you are who you hang around. The type of people that you surround yourself with, the type of people that you hang out with and listen to, you tend to think exactly like them. You tend to have the same habits as them. You are who you hang around. And so in this season of your life, you're going to have to adjust your circle. In this season of your life, you're going to have to expand your circle. You're going to have to hang out with people who already have the things that you are asking God for. Then you're going to start realizing how they think. Then you're going to start realizing the routines they have. Then you're going to start realizing the appearance that they show. And you're going to start adapting to it. You're going to start acting the same type of way, which will make it easier for you to become the type of person who has what God is trying to give you. And if you're listening to this and you're saying, well, I don't know anybody who has what I have, then you're going to have to start changing where you look for people. There are so many people who have podcasts, and you can adapt to their mentality. You can learn their routines. You can learn about the type of person that they are just from listening to their podcasts or watching their YouTube videos or watching their TikTok videos. And so if you can't physically find somebody who has your breakthrough, then find them online. If you want a more intimate relationship with them, go to a conference. It doesn't matter what type of blessing you are seeking. I'm 100% positive you can find conferences and events for any type of area that you're looking for. If you're looking for marriage, they have marriage conferences. If you're looking for business, they have business events, networking events. If you're looking for money, they have money events. They have places that rich people go to. They have places that successful people go to. No matter what type of blessing you are seeking, you can find events, you can find conferences, and you can find physical places to go to find these people. Have you ever dreamed of making your voice heard and sharing your message with the world? Well, it's time to turn that dream into a reality by starting your very own podcast. I understand that many aspiring podcasters are held back by the worries of cost, complexity, and the time it takes to launch a podcast. That is why I'm excited to announce my new training program that has all the tools and knowledge you need to launch your very own podcast for free. My training will guide you through every single step of your podcast journey. You will learn how to plan, release, market, and grow your podcast from start to finish. So if you're ready to take a leap of faith and share your message with the world, click the link in the description below to access my new podcast training. Now let's get back to the show. The next thing that you need to do is you want to write out the difference between who you are and who you need to be. Write down who you currently are, and then write down the person that God is calling you to be. And look over both and point out the differences. What is different about who you are and who you need to be? This is going to help you understand what exactly you need to work on, because it will help you avoid working and wasting your time trying to fix things that's not broken. You may realize that you have the right mentality, but you need to work on your routine. You may realize that you have the right routine, but you need to hang out in different environments. By writing down the difference of who you are and who you need to be, it helps you understand clearly what you need to do and what you need to start working on now. And the last thing that you need to do is when God is calling you to transition yourself, No matter if you feel fear, no matter if it's uncomfortable, no matter if it's risky, step out and do it anyway. Walk in faith. Be obedient. Stop allowing your faith walk to be based on your emotions. Trust God and do it anyway. No matter why you're afraid, whether it's because you're afraid of if it will last, you're afraid of what people might say, or you feel like it's overwhelming to navigate this new blessing, step out in faith and do it anyway. Remember that adjusting to the new is a part of your season of transition. There is no way for you to get your blessing and get your breakthrough without transitioning yourself inner and working on yourself as a person. And so you have to ask yourself, are you willing to take the steps necessary to adjust to your new norm? And if you are, then stop asking God for your desire and start asking God how to become the type of person who can handle what you're praying for. Surround yourself with people who have what you're desiring. Write the difference between who you are and who you need to be. And take the steps in faith and do it anyway. So, my action step for you today is I want you to go to God and I want you to ask Him, God, who do I need to be to have the things that you're trying to give me? And once He tells you, I want you to write down who you currently are on one side of a piece of paper. And then on the other side, write down who you need to be and point out the differences so that you know what you need to do and what you need to work on. But that is all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe so that you get a notification every time a new episode is released. Also, leave reviews and let me and others know how you enjoyed the show. And if you want to stay connected, make sure that you follow me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Prospering with Christ. But that's all I have for you today, and I will see you next week.